Hello, guys and gals, me Mutahar, and ladies and gentlemen, ho ho ho, it's Christmas Day indeed. Now, while everybody celebrates and enjoys time with their family, all about a big jolly old man breaking into our house and leaving us presents, Santa deniers, I want you to write your best comment right down below. But you know what? All that aside, I've been sitting over here and basically launching Christmas-themed malware. Yes, if you think there wasn't exactly any hope left for humanity, yes, even during Christmas, we actually infect other computers. Actually, more so, because people are more susceptible to actually getting some of these hacks running towards them. So I got a whole smorgasbord over here. I got a whole little historical rabbit hole to take you down. Let's get down into Christmas-themed malware, ladies and gentlemen. Now, to start off with, we've got the first little story over here, Christmas Tree Exec. Now, for those of you who have no idea what Christmas Tree Exec is, this is what we call a computer worm. Now, this one I actually can't, unfortunately, show you because it was actually all the way back in 1987. Yes, before I was even a sperm in my daddy's ballsack, this was a virus that actually existed on a good old-fashioned IBM mainframe back in the day when they used something called the VM operating system line. So basically, one student actually ended up developing this using like the Rex language and effectively sent this around. Basically, this malware would dig into your email contacts file and look through all your targets, and once it found every single one of them, it sent them all a beautiful email, launched with the good old-fashioned Christmas Exec malware. Now, of course, you might be wondering, what did the Christmas Exec malware actually do? Well, to start off with, you ended up getting this beautiful ASCII Christmas tree, a very happy Christmas, and my best wishes for the next year. Effectively, when you launch this virus, it would ask you, just type Christmas, and Lord and behold, when people entered the word Christmas, they would actually launch this and trigger the worm, and then you would get this beautiful little Christmas readout. But that's just the primer, ladies and gents. Let's get into something that's a little more runnable by today's standards. Yeah, this one takes us to W32 Navidad, okay? So this one obviously comes out of Latin America. I think the last place I ever knew was that it came out of Brazil, but effectively you would see this glorious looking application file. Now, of course, don't confuse this with the back of Agent 47's head. This is navidad.exe. Clicking on this brought you to a fashionable error where you got UI and OK. Now, from what I understand, this is just a fake error message, but I really don't have any clue if it's just a fake error message or if it's the fact that sometimes it shows up when you run it on anything other than a Spanish-oriented Windows operating system. But what really seals the deal is this eyeball. See, right here alongside your system tray icons, this little blue eyeball would sit. Sometimes there'd be multiple ones, but see, that little blue eyeball means you're basically fucked at this point. Now, of course, by clicking that blue icon, you eventually come across the one giant button. Nunca presionar este botón. Basically, don't press the button. Of course, you can imagine people press the button. And when you press the button, all hell would break loose. You would actually end up getting this message, okay, and then basically what would happen is it would dig through your actual email browser, and then it would look at all your unread emails, and basically look at all the emails in those unread emails and send a shot to them. Effectively, again, this is how email worms spread. And if you think that email malware doesn't actually happen nowadays, you're dead wrong. In fact, some of the later stuff we're looking at was spread through email servers. You also had like the B variant where you got this little winky face error, and then it's like, come on, let's party, buddy. Don't press the button. May God bless you. And then finally, you got Emmanuel, God is with us. May God bless you and Ash, Lick, and LJ. Of course, you can imagine Navidad would screw things up, and this is, from what I understood, a relatively destructive piece of malware. Again, you can avoid a lot of the nonsense over here, but given the fact when you run malware and it's already spreading its tentacles throughout your system directories, you're not going to have a good time. It's honestly going to just re-image Windows, okay? Use a virtual machine. But let's get down to business. Ladies and gentlemen, we actually have what I consider to be the real meat and potatoes. Now, here I've got some virtual machines set up over here. I've got a Windows 10 virtual machine, and then I actually built a VM just for Windows 98. However, this one is a rather interesting virtual machine, but we'll get to that in a due time. So to start off with over here, what I'm going to basically do is look through a bunch of these actual samples that I've dug up. So right over here, you can see that I've got a good old juicy file, Christmas malwares. Now, if you look at my Christmas malwares folder, you can see that I've got some DOS viruses, I've got fake GoldenEye for something else entirely, but I have this one malware sitting around, Merry Xmas Ransomware. Now, this kind of ransomware has been floating around all day, every day. So what we're actually going to do is, first off, we're going to turn off our virus and protections, okay? So go into your Windows Defender, turn this off. If you have real-time protection on, Windows will actually protect you, okay? We don't want to be protected. We're testing malware, okay? So bring it on, baby. Okay, so it's opening up, it's getting ready to go, and here we've got a bunch of files going on. So here you got EML files, which we're actually going to open up, and they're just literally email files that I just want to actually bring up. It is using a Windows client, so I'm going to go over here and get a free email software, just so we can actually open these up real quick. What is this, free viewer? Oh man, you know you're downloading some really sketchy piece of software right now, just download it right now. I'm sure it's 100% secure, baby. By the way, I would never trust software like this. I'm only doing it because, again, we're in virtualized containers. That's it. Oh, this looks really, really sketchy. Jesus Christ. Whatever. Go for it, I guess. Dude, it's got a 2018 copyright date. You can't... Dude, I think I might have unintentionally downloaded some real sketch software. Oh, this looks really fun. This looks sketchy, baby. All right, let's go put in the newer one in here. Hell yeah. Open that up with new folder. Oh, there it is. There it is. Here we got it. So these are the original emails I got sent. So notice of court attendance. Obviously, very serious email. Now, of course, you look into it. As a defendant, you have been scheduled to attend the hearing in the court of your city. Hearing date, 3rd January 2017. Hearing time, 9 a.m. Hearing subject, illegal use of software. Prior to the court, thoroughly study the plaint note in the attachment to this email. So again, this is the actual piece of malware. Now you could actually imagine that some old lady, if she got sent this, would freak the fuck out and actually end up clicking on this, okay? You know, even Santa Claus would fall for this, and that dude is the jolliest old man that I know. So yeah, you basically get this. It literally sounds scary. It's like I'm going to court or something. But let's go see how deep this rabbit hole goes. Now, of course, you got this document file over here, which I guess we can open with... Do we have any Man, Windows is like bare bones. All right, let's get a document viewer real quick. Here we go. Upload my very, very sketchy piece of software. Can I view it? Here it is. Begin PGP message. So again, you get like a PGP encoder right over here. But generally, remember last time we looked at a lot of the COVID-19 malware back then, which used documents to spread. They would basically be loaded with a bunch of macros that would effectively try to launch code. They would basically try to download programs and run them. Basically, what this would do would ping the actual internet, ping a server, and download a piece of dirty software. And in this case, the software downloaded was roaming. So let's actually run roaming and see what this is filled with. Fun fact, that little EML viewer we downloaded, anytime you see any software with that little badge on it, that little like shield, be careful, that's admin privileges. I don't recommend you give any application that unless you 100% trust it, okay? Or it has a reason for administrator privileges. Like for instance, antiviruses, which need to typically be elevated in order to do their job. So again, be real careful. That was a sketchy thing I did, and I would never recommend anybody do it. Oh no! Well, I launched a different piece of malware that absolutely dominated the system. Uh-oh! I think what happened is it picked up a different malware that launched this GoldenEye ransomware. Oh my god! The hard disks of your computer have been encrypted with a military-grade encryption algorithm. There is no way to restore your data without a special key. Oh shit! No! Wait, hold on. I know that it uses 33 bytes, okay? So hold on, let me try this. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. It did, in fact, ransom my system. So while we actually had an unintended piece of ransomware launch that actually did more damage than this Xmas-themed one, here you got a Christmas-themed malware that people would download, and basically all your data is completely encrypted. It would give you an ID here. Now you need to pay to recover your data. After money transfer, you will receive the decryptor. And you got like Telegram, which is Komodo Security, which I think is an actual cybersec firm. And then what's really important is like sort of the cringe Santa we got over here. If you're a Futurama enjoyer like I am, you know this is Evil Santa. And Evil Santa he is because he completely hijacked the system. Okay, so new fact over here, that virtual machine actually completely died. I think with a combination of running 3 different ransomwares, actually, the entire virtual machine is effectively just dead. But you know what? That's fine. I got another VM ready to go. Now this is actually quite special. So right on the surface is another Windows 10 virtual machine that we have. But now we're going to go even deeper and run malware for the Windows 98 era. Now, to start off with, the reason why this is a really special case is I recently switched to an AMD Ryzen processor. Now, despite the fact that a lot of processors are x86-64 based, not all architectures are made the same. So, for virtual machines so far, we've been using things like VirtualBox, VMware, KVM, a lot of these interesting hypervisors that basically peddle hardware assists. So, for those of you who don't know, when you virtualize something, if you have a modern computer, you're using something like VMX or AMD-V, which are basically hardware virtual extensions. These help assist virtualization so you can do cool things like, for instance, run games underneath virtual machines. For instance, here's Final Fantasy VII Remake, a game that I complained about a few days ago, being one of the worst PC ports of all time. A lot of people said that, Muda, maybe it's your virtual machines that are the issue. No, this is running at 60 frames per second in full 1440p super ultra wide through modifications and a lot of stuff. And actually, through virtual machine technology, I'm able to get better performance than actual bare metal for some reason. Maybe something to do with the fact that Linux's scheduler is handling some things better. I don't exactly know. But this is how virtual machines with hardware assists and graphic pass-throughs actually happen. Now, of course, the way that we have to tackle Windows 98 is it's so old that you actually can't even really install it, specifically if you have an AMD Ryzen processor like me. Now, this isn't like AMD screwing up somewhere. Windows 98 is older than some of you people, and Ryzen processors are newer, far newer than Windows 98 systems. So obviously there's some mismatch going between the virtualization. So here's where we're going to switch to a purely software stack. Now, software virtualization isn't new. It's actually quite slow, but it's intended if you want something that's cycle or feature perfect. So for instance, here we have x86 box. And with 86 box, we actually created a Windows 98 virtual machine. Now, this Windows 98 virtual machine took me a little bit of time to get going. I normally don't do something like this, but if you look at the configuration, you can see that I have a certain socket types. I actually gave it an Intel Pentium Overdrive MMX with a certain speed configuration attached. I also gave it a Voodoo Effects graphic card, which back then, yeah, these were 3D accelerators. Think about that one. But this is about as close to a Windows 98 system you're gonna find. And actually, if you're going to run something like Windows 98, especially if you want to do things like gaming, this might be the better way than the traditional VMware VirtualBox way. So anyways, let's start Windows 98 and just get into the giant nostalgia fest. Oh, here we go. I think I launched a virus and screwed up something. Oh, here we go. We're getting a little bit of a... What was up with the porn music back then? Listen to it, you gotta vibe with it. God, dude. Billy G was getting it going with this one, let me tell you. Show the screen each time Windows 98 starts? Of course, man. Why not? Who doesn't want to listen to that banger soundtrack? So here, what we've actually got going is a Windows 98 virtual machine, which again is feature accurate as you can see. And if you want to see how feature accurate it is, for instance, I actually have one game installed called Autobahn Racer. So again, to show you how these software virtualization systems work, we're going to run a game real quick. And again, this is Autobahn Racer, some German-like racer game, literally operating in software. And again, I fed it a graphic card from that era and a CPU from that era. So again, if we actually start the game, you can see that it's going to use the 3D Voodoo Effects graphics acceleration. Look at this one. Look at that, boys. Look at that. This is Windows 98 gaming. Oh my god. Man, the AI is just as stupid right now. It's definitely not getting fed with the Pentium, that's for sure. It's kind of got a banger soundtrack. Man, that car just sped right past me. I ain't winning this battle, that's for sure. Was that like a speed trap? No way. Oh! Oh, there we go. I'm actually going 1 out of 4 right now. This is sick. So yeah, if you ever wanted to game on Windows 98, this is kind of how you do it. But anyways, let's get back to the malware investigations, okay? So right here, I actually have an ISO file with those exact same Christmas malwares that we've seen. Again, now we're going to be running things for the Windows 98 era. Now, you actually can't run this on newer operating systems simply because a lot of those libraries are simply too old to be running on newer stuff, which is why we dug into the Windows 98 era, because we know Windows 98 is going to be able to run that shit just fine. And because there's no antivirus running day one, nothing's going to get in our way. So here, let's open up some of the stuff here. We actually got Elf Bowl. Now, this is actually one of those games that kicked in, and this is one of those weird hoaxes where people actually thought this game contained some actual malware. But in reality, it wasn't actually malware. This is just a really shitty bowling game. Yeah, no, see how really shitty it is? It's just Santa absolutely destroying elves for some reason. And yeah, this is like gaming back in the day. When I was a kid, this is the kind of gaming you would absolutely expect. Can I actually at least get a spare right now? Oh, no, you didn't. I got a gutter. Gutter ball? You're going into the recycle bin, baby. Now, that malware you just saw was something from 1999. Basically, it was a malware known as Prelissa, which basically was running through, again, Word documents. So, again, email attachments. So, if you think email attachments are a joke, trust me, it's still the biggest vector of malware spread right now. But basically, they would send you a documentation file, and people thought that you would actually get weird, malware that would actually format your C drive and get rid of actual key moments in your computer. I think at some point they were talking about overloading the boot sector, although I'm not so certain on that. But generally, people thought that this one weird, shitty bowling game was actually a vector of release for a pretty destructive C-destroying virus. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. It was just a shitty game, and that's pretty much the end of that. But our next piece isn't exactly so shitty. So here's the virus DOS Christmas that I actually showed you a while back. This actually does overwrite some sectors of your boot drive, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to open up C164. And as you can see, because we're on Windows 98, we do have DOS support. Remember, a lot of these older Windows operating systems are still MS-DOS based. It wasn't until Windows NT or Windows 2000 or Windows XP really that it started shifting towards a different Windows kernel. We actually covered this in our video where I actually installed Windows 1.0 and updated all the way to Windows 10, which is actually doable, by the way, completely. So in this case, this is Windows giving me a little prompt. We're going to back out of it and open a slightly older version. And here you can see Und lebt doch noch der Tannenbaum. Yeah, a lot of these are German for some reason. But here we got a good old-fashioned juicy Christmas tree. Now, what really does seal the deal is because this just wrote over the boot sector, it's not entirely super duper malicious, especially not compared to the ransomware that we just covered. If I end up restarting Windows 98, you can actually see every time I boot, you're going to see that Christmas tree. You actually did see it initially when we covered, so let's boot once again. Oh, there it is. It's there. And now the Windows system is booted up. So it's not exactly the most malicious piece of malware, but it is technically malware right there. Oh my God, I love this. Oh, it's beautiful. I think what we can really tie off a post-Christmas video with is maybe nuking Windows 98. Now to start off with, ladies and gentlemen, this is WinNuke 98. So let's go launch this one real quick. WinNuke, Win98. Don't touch it. So original, IP address, port, WinNuke attack. Let's just nuke attack myself. Oh no. Oh no, we're nuking Windows. I'm actually kind of scared. I think my computer's gonna blow up. Oh man. Thank God for virtualized containers, man. And if you look at that very carefully, ladies and gentlemen, WinNuke has actually deleted every directory in Windows. In fact, it's so blown up that I actually can't even find WinCom, meaning that I'm completely unable to load Windows. And I guess just to tie off the Christmas theme with, what would Santa do? Santa eats your milk and your cookies, but you know what Santa might also take? Is your goddamn Windows System 32 directory. You ever wonder what it looks like when System 32 is gone? Let's give it a try. Hell yeah, I need permission. Go for it, Chief. Oh no, you need permission. How can you tell me I am not allowed to delete System 32? I can always log into a different operating system and just wipe that shit straight clean. Look at that. Preparing to delete. You should never actually do this. Doing this will kill your Windows install. So when Santa takes this away, let me tell you what happens next. And here we go, moment of truth. Let's look at what it's like when Windows... preparing automatic repair. And I think unless you have a Windows 10 install sitting around, It's not gonna succeed, boys, let me tell you. Oh, diagnosing my PC. Wait, a giant chunk of me is gone. Literally a giant organ has been removed. It's trying to attempt every repair. It's not going to win. So what have we learned? We've learned that malware exists in all shapes and forms. Every time big events happen like Christmas, Hanukkah, Eid, Valentine's Day, any day really, any holiday, there's always people in the malware community, the black hat hackers, willing to spread some really nasty stuff. Now, of course, some of the Christmas themed stuff we saw was relatively harmless. I mean, some of them just put Christmas trees in our bootloader, which, granted, looks annoying, makes you feel a little unsafe, but it's not exactly the end of the world. And some of them are pure ransomware that for some reason launched other ransomware and absolutely killed one virtual machine from the ground up. But in some cases, you actually have little nukes that are hidden around in the giant Christmas malware world, where it completely gets rid of your boot directories. And in some cases, idiots like me delete System32 on camera and have systems that can't even repair themselves. But of course, some of them are even games that are loaded with a bunch of hoaxes. So really, what do you trust? Nothing! Nothing at all! Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Christmas malware extravaganza. Do not try this at home. I literally showed this for educational purposes. If you're actually going to run malware like this, or test malware, or learn about it, make sure it's in a completely safe environment. Remember, your personal data is at risk if you run these things without knowing exactly what you're doing. I am a trained dumbass professional, which means that I can kind of get away with it. But ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comment section below if you like what you like. If you like what you like, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I'm a little scatterbrained right now, so I'm going to back these files up and get right down to editing. This is me, Muda, and I am out.